Hello! I'm Boulder. She's Goggles. Today we're going to be talking about Optimus Prime. Debatably the most badass of all badasses that are giant robots in red, white, and blue. And from Transformers. And aren't Starscream. Anyway,
oddly specific.
Yeah. I actually like Prime. But anyway, this is our first character spotlight because there are lots of characters in Transformers, so we figure we'll take some time to take a look at each character in little mini reviews. Well, not even really mini, but just reviews of them, how they're portrayed. Would you like to?
Right, and we're going to be mostly talking about G1, Animated, and Prime. Partially because that's the ones that we know the most, and also because those are the ones that people tend to care more about.
That's also the only one that I've seen. Sorry, I haven't seen Armada, and I haven't seen Beast Wars, so we're gonna talk about those are gonna be limited because I've only seen this a month ago, guys. You can only watch so much in a day. Okay, so Optimus Prime is in virtually every series the leader of the Autobots, except for Animated, where he's the leader of only some of the Autobots, but we'll get to that. In G1, he's essentially the big honcho. The man in charge.
Yeah. He's also basically Jesus.
Debatably, he's Jesus. He died for our sins.
He died multiple times for our sins. He's known for dying multiple times
for our sins, yes. So, Jesus.
He comes back every time.
The thing about Optimus Prime in the first series, and I'm going to talk briefly about why Prime, because I'm going to tell him Optimus because we got a series called Prime and Prime. So I'm going to talk briefly, real quick, starting this off, about why Optimus in the series Prime kind of bugs me. Because he's dull. Now, he's a lot like the original G1 Prime, but here's the thing. In G1 Prime, he had a specific role to play. He was the voice of reason to the other characters. He wasn't... There were so many characters in that series that's what we were focused on. That's where we got our character development. He was just the voice of reason, the sort of father to the other robots. Which, you know, as a little kid, you're like, woo, okay, he's a grown-up bot. He's a daddy bot.
That works for me as a child.
Yeah, which is what that show is geared towards.
Part of
so
what
it doesn't
when it's fun.
bug you. But in Prime, it's geared towards teenagers. So this sort of perfect robot doesn't work as well. Also, there are less characters in Prime because of basically the entire Cybertron being dead. And there's only 5 of them left, apparently. So, having one character which can't talk, which is Bumblebee, which we'll get to that in another show, and having Prime, who is basically just perfect, is a real waste. So there's only 3 characters that you ever really have any character development for. And one of them is Ratchet. And I don't want to know much more about Ratchet. He's a curmudgeon, and I'm happy with that.
So yeah. Moving on to what now?
I was offering your time for you to...
Okay, so, but what bugs me most in Prime is that they get multiple chances to make Optimus very interesting and really develop his character and make him something that is unique to that series, but they don't do it, and they don't take those chances. And I'm not really sure why, aside from Hasbro wanting their characters to stay the same.
I don't blame Hasbro personally.
Yeah.
Because Hasbro is actually, lately Hasbro has been writing some shows that are really focused on having interesting and unique characters.
But first and foremost, Hasbro is a toy company, so yeah, you know.
I mean, they're pretty much their thing, their shtick right now is writing good cartoons sells a lot of toys. True. They're trying to write a good cartoon. Now, I don't blame Hasbro. I think it's the writers. I think... And no offense, but I think that the writers are real fans of the original series. And as such, I think almost as a reaction to how Prime was written in Animated, where he was, you know, this young, naive sort of, younger bot, they wanted to return to that, and, but they overreached. They overreached to the point where he's perfect. So I think a part of it is just fanboyism. I mean, you see that a lot in fan fictions, where if it's a character that the particular writer really likes, it's like, oh my gosh, it like raises them to a level of godhood, which is what we're at with Prime in Prime. and it's It's just dull.
And
There's
animated,
nowhere to go with his character.
which is quite a letdown right after animated, where he was actually a rather interesting character, and it's a character to him, because they have stuff in his backstory and other characters to interact with him where he reacts differently than with the rest of his team. And he actually has an aspiration of, I want to be a better leader and lead these people better.
He wants to be. He has a goal.
He's not there yet in animated, but in Prime he's been there for a long time already, and there isn't really anything to do now development-wise.
See, I wouldn't argue that it's. You keep saying it's because the team has been together for a long time. That's why there's no. I wouldn't agree, because we've been friends for a long time, and stuff still happens in our relationship.
Yeah.
It's not stagnant. It's not like every day we talk about the same thing and nothing ever changes. I mean, you can know someone for forever, for cycles and cycles and cycles, but you can still learn new stuff about them. The thing that also bugs me, and just a quick disclaimer, I do love Prime. Prime is a good series. I just don't like it as much as animated. So that's why, if it seems like we're quote-unquote biatching about it, it's not because we dislike it. It's a good show. Go out and check it out if you haven't. It's really cinematic and
it's so pretty.
But anyway.
Some of the fight scenes are just really
pretty. And the characters are well done. We're just pointing out the flaws because we like flaws. Flaws make things interesting. Which is why they should have put some flaws in Optimus freaking Prime!
The reason that you pointed this out to me a while ago, back when you were in the creative writing class, where the reason people remember and like a character is not because of what they're good at, it's because of what their flaws are.
That's what makes them identifiable.
Yeah.
Not even just as yourself, but as people you know, and other things. That's what makes a character. And a flaw has to be a real flaw. It can't be like in his past. And bad stuff happened to him. That's not a flaw. That's something sad that happened to him in his past.
And I really don't count a flaw, like a true flaw, as the fact that he doesn't have that much emotion. Which is the thing that they try to bring up in the last few episodes of
To be fair, he doesn't. But they don't play on that.
Yeah, they don't do anything with it.
They don't have him make sort of psychotic decisions because he doesn't have emotions. It'd be really interesting, actually, if they made it so that, like, he portrayed himself as this big, emotionless, like, character, on the outside, but then, like, when he's in his room alone, he's just, like, emotionally wrecked and, like, barely keeping it together for the others. That would be fast! That'd be really cool!
That'd be a really interesting Prime.
Yeah, and then, like, Ratchet finds out about it and is, like, trying to help him through it because Ratchet's a fanboy, and... Sorry. They make Ratchet slightly Optimus Prime fanboy in Prime, which is hilarious in my opinion. But anyway,
like in Prime, they don't give him anything to do really, character-wise.
They also make him kind of stupid. I mean, as a leader, okay, this is my soapbox. He's a bad leader in Prime because situations such as Miko continue to happen and are never dealt with. Miko continually gets herself in danger, continually causes mayhem and panic, and continually nearly gets herself and the two other children that they're supposed to be protecting killed. And Prime just keeps going, Miko, have you learned your lesson? Totally! Well, I guess that's okay then.
It's all we can do.
Guys, there's more to being a leader than just sort of going, have you learned your lesson? Are you sure, young man?
No. Prime doesn't even ask her if she's learned her lesson. He assumes she has.
Yeah, we think you've learned your lesson, and Mika's just like shrug times. That's a good point.
Yeah.
But here's my thing. To be a good leader, and Prime is always supposed to be a good leader, you do have to punish people sometimes. I don't mean like you sit in the corner and think about what you've done, or like horrible punishments like that. What I mean is you need to have serious, stern talks about what the person is doing that is bringing down your team, why it's bringing down your team, and inform them that things will happen if they do not cease that behavior. You can't just lead on respect alone. No one is respected to the point... I mean, and it's not just because they disrespect him or anything, it's because people do stupid things. Like Miko. Miko does stupid things. And that's just part of who she is. Everyone has flaws and makes mistakes. That's why, as a leader... One of the most important things as a leader is if the computer doesn't fall asleep, sorry. One of the most important things as a leader is you have to be able to discipline your group well. And for some reason, Prime's group is ridiculously disciplined, Sorry.
There isn't really a reason as to why.
Sorry,
like,
my
there's
cell
not a
phone.
visible reason as to why.
Yeah, there's no reason as to why. Because Prime never, when these new kids come in line, Prime never tries to make them part of the. Well, I mean, they're not supposed
Ratchet does more to discipline them than Prime does.
And to be fair, that could be their dynamic. That could be that Ratchet is the one that disciplines people, and Prime is the one that, comes up with stuff. Except that's not what's implied, because everyone just shrugs and goes, "Oh, Ratchet, psh, you curmudgeon," whenever he tries to discipline people. So it's clear that that's not the dynamic that's happening. I'd talk more about G1 Prime. I would, but there's not much more to say, other than in G1 Prime that sort of character works, because it's aimed at children, and it's just having, and there's so many characters, and just having a character that's steadfast, that's always the voice of reason, that doesn't have flaws, it works.
The thing in G1 is that because there are so many characters, the character is defined by a short list of traits, very short list of traits, and that come through when they're on screen. And so Prime having this very short list of traits works, because even though he's on screen a lot more than the others, he's not really relied on to have a whole lot of depth in terms of, like, how later series have it. And I'm going to briefly now touch upon Beast Wars, because if you look at it,
I'm just going to sit here and go, yes.
She hasn't seen any Beast Wars.
I have not.
But Beast Wars, if you look at it, that's not actually Optimus Prime, that's Optimus Primal. So, that's his name.
Oh my god. Excuse me a moment.
Yep. Carry on! Okay, so that's actually a character named Optimus Primal, which is not actually Optimus Prime, like, straight up. So, when people start ranting about Truck Not Monkey, which is a concept that developed on forums, when people would start going ballistic because of Beast Wars being about beasts and not robots, straight up.
Okay.
Cars.
I'm sorry.
One of the things that they always get wrong is that that's not even the same character, technically. And also he doesn't turn into a monkey.
The only thing I have to say about that is, the entire concept of the show is that they turn into animals instead of trucks. If you don't like that, then don't watch the show. Don't waste your life going, but they're supposed to turn into cars. Starscream is supposed to have 6-inch stripper heels, not 5-inch stripper heels. What the hell is this series all about?
How dare you!
It's called Starscream's 5-inch stripper heels, okay? Just, if you don't like it, move on.
We'll talk about
Starscream's 6-inch stripper heels is not a real show. But Hasbro will consider it if enough people say yes. Come on, guys, Hasbro can be pushed into anything!
So yeah, I think our thoughts are pretty done on that one.
Yeah, we didn't talk very much about our favorite Prime, which was
Animated,
which I'll talk about a little bit. I think both of ours is our favorite.
Yeah.
I don't even like him that much, the animated Prime. But I mean, it's not that I dislike him. He's just, like, not very high up there.
Favorite character.
Because he's kind of a stereotypical, as we've mentioned in,
It's a little bit of a Disney princess.
Yeah. He's very much like, I want more.
But he's more interesting in that series because they give him faults and things, like,
because you don't always know what he's gonna do, and he doesn't always remain calm.
And the reason that he's even on this team is because he messed up, and that problem, the thing that he messed up on, comes back to give him problems later.
Because
it keeps troubling him.
Because here's the thing, guys. It's not interesting. Just watching me take off my hat is not interesting. You know why? Because there's absolutely no struggle to it. Prime has absolutely no problem in Optimus. Optimus, has no problem in Prime leading. Absolutely none. There's no challenge to it, so there's nothing that's inspiring about it. There's nothing interesting about me going, hey, Amy, I've been, 6 months, alcohol-free when I don't drink. If there's nothing for a character to overcome, it's just not interesting. And that's all I have to say. Amy?
Yes.
Alright. Later, guys.